Tremendous here, and I got another book review here for you. This one is called Starships and Apocalypse. This is Volume 2, Time and Terrors. This is another collection of short stories. This one will be Connoisseur of Carnage and Trapped in Transit. Number stories 1 and 2 out of 11 from this little collection here. This is one of the authors. Full disclosure, I talk to Andrew McGregor all the time. I say all the time. We talk. We've known each other. We're both authors, and I've read his stuff before. I really like his stuff. I am biased when it comes to this, although I did try, and I think I accomplished, looking at all of his stories from an unbiased viewpoint. That being said, I do really enjoy his work. I think he's a very skilled author. He writes some amazing stories. I enjoy his stuff. My wife, my editor, is also, she's edited a lot of his stuff. So take that for what you will. I don't believe it has changed any of my opinions on any of my reviews. I tried to make sure it didn't color it in any way, shape, or form. 100% honest. If he's a 1-star story writer, he's a 1-star story writer. If he's a 5-star story writer, 5-star, you know how it is. I'm trying to keep my integrity intact, and that's why I'm giving you this long-winded explanation. If you're watching this, yes, I like his work. I've read it before. This guy is a gifted author in my opinion, but I did try to approach all of his stories from a very neutral standpoint and let the work stand for itself, and I believe I've done that. But please don't take my opinion for it. If you doubt me, totally fine. Please click the link in the description below. Get a copy of the book. It's not expensive. It won't take you long to read. Then come back, watch my review, and let me know in the comment section if I got it right, wrong, or otherwise, because I'd love to have a conversation. This book is science fiction. It was published on April 4th, 2021 per Amazon, and the first story, Connoisseur of Carnage, is 3 pages long, and the second one, Trapped in Transit, is 12 pages long. So let's get into it. So usually I would do a spoiler-free review, and then I would do a spoiler-filled review, but for a 3-page and 12-page story, that seems like a little excessive. So they're all going to be spoiler-filled reviews because it's hard not to spoil stories when they're less than 15 pages long. So I apologize for that. It's the way I've decided to approach it. If you don't like spoilers, I get it 100%. I respect that. Stop the video, click the link in the description below, get the book, check them out, and when you're done reading it, come back, watch review. Let me know if I nailed it, missed it, or somewhere in between. Love to have a conversation. So in this one, the main characters are an alien named Glopus. I'm going to call it that because there's no one to tell me otherwise. And Carolyn. Glopus is like a grasshopper type of alien, and Carolyn is a art connoisseur, human. Basically, the plot is its first contact. Glopus is the first alien to ever visit Earth, and the first ask that he makes is, I'm going to assume it's a he, is, hey, I want to see your most famous artwork. Things that you have made that are just gorgeous or whatever Earthlings consider magnificent art, I want to see. And according to the very short 3-page story, the humans have gathered all of this artwork, Picasso, all that good stuff. And Carolyn is showing it to Glopus, presenting it to him because, honestly, he's the first alien to ever show up on Earth. We would probably bend over backwards to accommodate them. While she's presenting it, Glopus is very impressed. He loves all of it. It's very interesting, and he sees a lot of value in it. So much so, in fact, that he decides he needs to have exclusive rights to it all and destroys the Earth. Not blows it out of the universe or anything, but sends a bunch of antimatter missiles into it to destroy and kill everybody so that no other alien being would be able to come to Earth and recover his particular art style. Carolyn is, of course, devastated, falls to the ground, and he promises her she'll live forever to show this art off to all of his little art connoisseur alien buddies. It's kind of hilarious. The cover for this book, I like it. I have no issue with it whatsoever. It's definitely science fiction. It's definitely cool. It's definitely professionally made. The font and the artwork and the colors all work with each other. It's kind of engaging. I like the way the little ship is shooting at the bigger ship. I like the combat thing. It's exciting. It makes me want to pick up the book and take a look at it. The editing, again, full disclosure, my wife edits a lot of his books. I believe she edited this one. And of course, I think the editing's fine. But that's not just because my wife did it, although that does have something to do with it. I didn't detect or see any editing mistakes, grammar mistakes, formatting mistakes, no problem whatsoever. The only issue I do have, and I've already talked to Andrew about this, so it won't be a shock to him, is the table of contents does not go through everything. The book itself is like 201 pages long, but the table of contents only goes up to page 125, and the reason for that is the last story is like a little novella. So, but it doesn't say anything like that, and I believe it should, because otherwise, like when I first saw it, first of all, I had no idea this was a collection of short stories. That needs to be in the description somewhere. It is on the Amazon description, but on the book itself, there's nothing on there that says that it's a collection of short stories. I mean, as you can see from this, it looks like it says volume 2, so I'm thinking that it's like book 2 of a greater series. I went into this expecting to read a full-blown novel, or even a novella. It is, well, 200 pages, I would call that a novel. But it's not. It's a series of short stories, and as stupid as I am, it took me 3 or 4 short stories before I realized, hey, these aren't all connected. So I reached out, he verified, and agrees that he should put something in on the cover that states that it's a collection of short stories, including a novella at the very end. So that's my only issue when it comes to the editing. I wish that had been plainly stated, at least maybe like in a message from the author, a note from the author at the very, very beginning of the book, or somewhere on one of the covers. The story flow for this particular story, I mean, it's only 3 pages, but it's engaging. I typically don't like single-digit page length short stories because I don't feel like there's enough. This one worked mostly. No problem with the flow. It was great. It didn't go back and forth. Not that it really could. It had nowhere to go. And the feel was really good. You don't realize fully the savagery of Glopus until he's unleashing antimatter missiles onto the planet. It's fascinating to me that he was able to incorporate such a shock into such a short story. So I actually really got a kick out of that. Like I said, the spoiler-filled rundown of this is basically Carolyn shows up on Glopus's ship, and she's showing him Earth's most famous art: Picasso, Da Vinci, Salvador Dali, all of those. And Glopus loves it. He really, really loves it, and decides that owning the art will make him filthy rich. And he wants to ensure that only he has access to the art, so he destroys the Earth with anti-miter missiles. It's really cool because he's a real scumbag about how he does it. He's like, look, he tells Carolyn, I mean, I don't care how detached from emotion you are, every alien's going to realize that blowing up their planet, the being's planet, is probably not going to be something that's well received. And so Carolyn falls to the ground, devastated, crying, wailing, all that stuff. And Glopus is like, there, you're going to live forever, and we're going to be the only two on this ship that can have a conversation for a while. So, cheer up, let's go have a conversation. Entertain me, clown. And it makes you want to punch Glopus right in the mouth. I think he has one. He's a grasshopper-looking thing is how it's described. But I like the way this author does aliens and stuff like that, because it's a grasshopper, but when he gets excited or really into something, his legs shake, kind of like a cricket or a grasshopper's would. He gets a real kick out of it. And the way they're communicating is through, what's it called? Translator AI robots, which is the only other crew on the ship. It's Glopus, a bunch of robots, and now Carolyn. But that also kind of explains why Glopus doesn't have any real empathy or anything like that. He's surrounded by robots and machines, and, he's an alien bug. So the alien feel comes off in the story. Like, just the way he approaches Carolyn, and the way Carolyn is kind of like put off by him, but trying to put on a brave face. Clearly, they chose the right person for the job. 3 pages, and it caught my attention completely. I was very impressed by that, because when I saw it was only 3 pages long, I'm not gonna lie, I was ready to give it 2 stars, leaning towards 1, because honestly, it felt a little insulting at first. And I am pleased to say that the story proved me wrong. Well done. While the Earth burns, though, in the background, Glopus flies off, and that's the end of the story. It's short, it's sweet, and it's captivating. So it took me a minute. I actually had to think about this one, and in the end, I mean, I went with what I felt, and I ended up giving this story 4 stars because I honestly believe I really enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I didn't love it, and I'll tell you why. There was a few things that bothered me. Number one, it was way too short. That did bother me. I thought about it, and I was like, this is great. It feels like a prologue. That's actually when I first approached this book, and I thought this was a novel itself, one connected story. I thought, okay, so this is like a prologue, and he's just naming his chapters for instead of doing actual chapters. Interesting, not orthodox, but okay, I could get there. And no, it was not a prologue at all. It's just a very short story, but it's a well-crafted short story. I didn't love it though because it did feel like there should have been a little bit more. I wanted more, which is also very good, but one of the issues I have is the author did this wonderful job making this alien so alien, and the AI robots that surround him kind of neat and everything like that. Even Carolyn, who was a human, like her reactions and the way she interacted with the cricket guy was really cool. But it really jarred me, and this is super nitpicky, I know, but dang it, that's just who I am. The grasshopper alien turns around and gets wine, starts drinking wine. And yes, the Carolyn could have brought it and offered it to him. Not that I think human ambassador would do that with first contact, because we don't know how our liquids and stuff are going to affect the creature or anything like that, and vice versa. So I have to assume that this wine is his, but it's just off to me that a alien would drink something made from crushed grapes. Grapes might be an alien fruit, only unique to Earth. Is grapes the only thing in the world? That required a lot more explanation. It would be like them walking up and having a Gatorade or something, like from the planet Kerplecus. It didn't make any sense. It kind of took me out of the story, and it was really jarring. I know it's probably just me being nitpicky, but I'm trying to be honest. That bothered me a lot, and it just felt like a huge plot hole, and it shook me. It actually knocked a star off of this one. Again, this is one person's opinion. If you disagree or think I'm being too harsh, please feel free to click the link in the description below, buy the book, read it, and come back and define your position on it one way or the other. I'd love to have a conversation, but this is my opinion. 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I never thought I would say that about a 3-page short story. Well done, sir. Here's the spoiler-filled review of number 2. What is it? Trapped in Transit. This is a 12-page long story like we covered before, and yeah, the main characters, there's 2 of them. There's a guy named Cal and a lady named Nora. They're both military. Nora's a sergeant. I don't believe I didn't see it anyway, where Cal had a rank anywhere. I didn't see private or sergeant or anything like that. But bottom line is they're both in power armor, and it starts off, they're running away from alien Cericians or something like that. I'm not really sure how to say the word. Something that starts with an S. It's very alien. It's very cool. But Cal and Nora are trying to escape from these aggressive aliens, the Cericians, who are trying to kill them. It gives the feel, after you read the story, it seems like humanity and the Cericians were at war with each other, and it's not going well from the Earthlings. I don't know why Cal and Nora were on this alien planet. I got the feel that they were on a planet, but they're running away, trying to get to basically this wormhole device that will shoot them back to Earth, basically. But what ends up happening is that it's a cool fight scene, but as they get to the wormhole device, they end up stuck inside for a long time, hundreds of years, because the Earth is destroyed. Again, not wiped off the universe or anything like that, but basically the Cericians win. They're kind of taunting Cal and Nora as they're running away. You're not going to make it back in time. Earth is doomed. You're already dead. Blah, 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 all that crazy stuff. I got a kick out of it. I'm sorry. If you can't tell, I really did enjoy that. I thought at first maybe the Earth was destroyed by Glopus from the first story. So that's kind of was, I was like, oh, that was the prologue, blowing up the Earth. Okay, this makes sense. I don't know if that's the case because the aliens aren't really described as grasshoppers or crickets or anything like that. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but they're never really described. They're just like this menacing disembodied voice that they're shooting at and blowing up with grenades, which is, that'll work. So maybe it was Glopus, maybe he's a Cerician, maybe not, I don't really know. But when they finally get out of the Earth, the wormhole, because they do eventually get out after spending a long time stuck there, the Earth is very, very different, and it's cool. Like, we'll get to it in a second. Cover and editing is totally fine. Again, my wife did the editing, so I'm biased. But again, I didn't find any issues. There was no editing, formatting, or story flow issues, anything like that whatsoever. The story flow is great from start to finish. You know where you're at, the time that passes and stuff. You actually feel it. It was very well written. This is a great little story. Like I said before, Kalanora, the story starts off with Kalanora running away from the evil Cerisian aliens. It's a desperate flight to the wormhole, or transport device, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's a wormhole crater that'll shoot them from where they're at over to Earth. Billions of light years, or however many it is, thousands of light years in a matter of seconds. That's pretty cool. The fight scene's pretty good too. Shooting, running and gunning, trying to get away. Like, you start to feel pretty quick the desperation in Kalanora, and that's saying something for a 12-page story. They do end up getting to the wormhole thing, obviously, and they dive in head first. They throw themselves into it, and it starts to transport them, but it does not drop them off at Earth. And what they figure out pretty quick is the reason that that would happen is that the beacon was turned off on Earth, basically the thing that the wormhole transport device locks onto to drop them off, so they don't end up in the middle of a sun or something like that. But just as they jumped into it, the wormhole thing or the beacon that the wormhole thing was looking for was shut off. They assume it's because the Cerisians destroyed the Earth or stopped it or whatever, and they do wonder why they're still alive. Like, why haven't they shut off the beacon on the other side, closing the wormhole and basically crushing them, or whatever would happen if a wormhole collapses while you're inside of it? I'm going to assume some sort of horrible death, and they wonder that. Like, the author catches that and describes it in a few sentences. Like, we have no idea why they haven't shut it off yet. It's absolute, madness that they haven't turned it off. So that's never really explained what happens, but every second they spend in the wormhole is 1 week in reality. Time is different in the wormhole. Go figure. The trip should have only taken 5 seconds or 5 weeks in reality, but instead they're stuck in the wormhole for about 3 hours and 10 minutes. So around 220 years pass in reality while they're stuck in this thing. And you would think the 3 hours and 10-ish minutes that they spend inside this wormhole would be like montage or something. Like, they just go by it really quick, or whatever. Again, it's only 12 pages, so I thought the author was just going to kind of yada 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 it. No, it's actually a pretty good 5 stages of grief thing that they go through. They get suicidal pretty quick. Not enough to actually shoot themselves in the head, but they do pull the pin on a couple grenades and play catch. It doesn't kill either of them because they're in power armor, but one of them gets tagged with some, what's it called? With some shrapnel from one of them. It's not enough to get past the armor or hurt them or anything like that, but basically they're like, well, eventually we'll run out of oxygen and die, and they just kind of accept it. Cal starts thinking about his wife and kids getting older and older and dying while he's stuck in this thing, and he's miserable because of it. Nora starts thinking about her friends and family, and she's miserable for it. And eventually they kind of take a nap, they fall asleep, and they get woke up to their suits beeping at them saying that the beacon was reactivated, and they haven't come back yet because the wormhole, it's explained pretty well. Basically, the wormhole has been thrashing around looking for a beacon to drop them off at that's just not there. Well, something turns the beacon back on after a few hours and deposits them back on Earth. Needless to say, it's only been a few hours for them, but 220 years in reality. And when they get on Earth, it's very, very different. Basically, the Cerisians did take over the Earth. They did, as far as we know, kill all the Earthlings. But before the Earthlings were destroyed, they did get a message off that basically said that the war is over, they lost, and humanity is activating the Genesis program, which is a little weird. It doesn't make any sense. But what it turns out to be is they did a Genesis program on dogs, and so when they get there, the planet has this, I don't know, dog human type of person running around, but they act very much like Scooby-Doo. That is direct quote from the book. The dog talks and acts like Scooby-Doo. A lot of dog-like mannerisms. They get very excited when they see Cal and Nora, especially when they realize that they're humans. They're like this legendary, race that they call masters, and their tails wag and they lick their faces. Honestly, I'm a huge dog person. This won me over 100%. It was awesome. Imagine your dog being able to talk to you and be excited and all the dog mannerisms, but also they speak English and love you unconditionally. Oh, it was so cool. I loved it. I mean, they're kind of, you get a feeling like they're kind of like the whipped dogs or whatever by the Cerisians that run the planet, and they're like, "We're so glad that you're here. Legend had it you would come back and help us fight off the Cerisians, the scumbags that that control the planet." And Kalanor are like, "Everyone we know is dead, and we've got a small army of the goodest dogs." They go, hey, let's go start a war, and the dogs are excited about it. They're man's best friend, and it just comes off really, really cool. I know I'm not doing it justice. Trust me, if you're a dog person, click the link below, get this book, and read Trapped in Transit. It's great. I loved it. So yeah, Cal and Nora lead the dogs up, towards this city that isn't populated by the Cerisians to go kick butt and chew bubblegum, and they're all out of gum. It was really good. I was excited. I want more from this story. I wanted to see how it went. The problem is, in a war, I know some of the dogs would die, and there's no John Wicks left unless Cal and Nora become that, and that's what the Earth needs, more John Wicks, because, I love this story. I love that the dogs are there. Yeah, I'm a huge dork. So the rating for this one, I thought about it for a minute or two just to see if I was just hyped up on the dogs or everything like that. But honestly, I couldn't find anything about the story I didn't like. I loved it. I really did. So this was a no-brainer. I gave this one the top mark, 5 out of 5 stars. Enjoyed everything about it. 100% thrilled to be able to do that. Again, this is one man's opinion. I know I'm a little biased because I like this author's work anyway, but this was fantastic. Everything about the story was well crafted. For 12 pages, it didn't feel like I was shortchanged. It didn't feel like yada 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 over anything. It had literal like dog people in it, but with dogs' personalities still. It had action. It had, some depression, some sadness. It had everything. A beginning, middle, end, climb. It was great. I loved it. I'm going to read it again, and yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Please, please challenge me on this. Read the story, come back, let me know what you think. It's 12 pages. It won't take you long, but so excited. And there it is, well placed on Tremendous's Story e-shelf. It'll be there forever. Only 5 out of 5 stars. Storybooks go there. Again, this is just one man's opinion. Feel free to click on the link in the description below, get a copy of the book, read this story, and let me know if you think it belongs on the Tremendous e-shelf or if I'm out of my friggin' mind. Either is a possibility. I'll leave it up to you to decide. We'll have a conversation in the comments below if you're game. Yeah, but that's another 2 book reviews in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comments below. And as always, thanks.